right? So, but from one bad defender to another one, let's talk about the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. He just got injured. So I look, I'm not going to go in for a very long time on a player that's, I don't want to kick a player while he's down, man. He suffered a knee injury, so he's going to be out. They think between 4 to 6 weeks on a hyperextension. They're going to reevaluate him in 4 weeks. So it's possible that he could be 4 weeks or he could be closer to 6 weeks. And there's a lot of implication with that because he can only miss 17 games before you're not eligible for any season awards. MVP, first, second team, third team All NBA, scoring title, rebounding champ, assist title. Like, he won't be eligible for none of those prestigious awards. So that's one topic that we go discuss in depth on Friday with the full panel. But for now, I just want to discuss Denver and how I expect them to play, or how it's going to be possible for them to keep their head above water while Nikola is out, if it's possible at all, right? Because they got 4 starters out, so it's just Jamal Murray. He's the lone starter that's left. They got to hold the fort down. So it's going to be a tall task. This is the head coach in his first full season, so he's still a young, inexperienced coach. They got their work cut out for them. They lost their best player. They lost their best defender, Aaron Gordon. No Christian Braun, another good defender, and Cam Johnson, who was their shooter. All are gone, right? So I want to approach it from here because, we already got a small sample size. They won their first game without Nikola Jokic last night. They got a 3-point win against the Toronto Raptors, who is a good team. I think they're number 3 in the East, and so far it looks like Ingram might be an all-star. He's getting a lot of fan vote. We'll see how the media and the coaches feel about it once they get their ballots in. But right now he's getting fan vote. So it looks good. They might have an all-star. It could be Scotty Barnes. Who knows? You're the number 3 team in the East. You got a decent record. It's rightfully so that, someone it's an all-star on that team, right? So they're a decent team. So they beat a good team. They beat Toronto by 3. And if you start to look at how the game transpired, I will say this. I didn't see them play a lot of zone. They play a lot of zone when Jokic is on the floor, though. Right? So that's one disparity. People always want to know if Jokic is the primary facilitator and the distribution for their team, how they're going to score without Jokic passing the ball. And I've always told people, you don't need a person to pass you the ball for you to score. Like, you don't, right? Assist is an indication that your team is sharing the ball and that your team is playing the right way. So team assists are very important. But if I have a player that averages 10 assists, like a Steve Nash or John Stockton or Nikola Jokic, don't think for a second that team can't survive without that person. Like, some people just look at a guy who averages 10 assists or 12 assists and say, oh, the team he's playing with can't get a shot by themselves. Like, they just automatically think they can't get a shot. As a matter of fact, I did a video trying to explain this a year ago. And I'm going to put this comment on screen. If you see circled in the red, this guy told me Michael Porter Jr. cannot create his own shot. If he is the focal point of a defense, he can't do jack. And then you see in the highlight, my response is everyone that played as a role player for Jokic, Harden, Westbrook, or Luka have been unfairly or falsely labeled as can't create their own shot. You're not watching enough basketball if you're fooled by that example or fooled by that. And I said example, Jalen Brunson. And the reason why I said example, Jalen Brunson is because when Jalen Brunson was with the Mavs and he was playing with Luka, Luka plays that style where he's getting all the assists for his team. And when you do that to the novice or to the naked eye, you look at that and you automatically assume that Jalen Brunson or the Dallas Mavericks or asking Luka to do that because they know that no one else on the floor can get their own shot, and Luka has to spoon feed them their shots. This is why Nash got 2 MVPs in Phoenix, because the narrative, when you woke up and you watched SportsCenter and you watched all of these experts and these talking heads talk about who should be heading or in the lead for the MVP race, they always said, well, Chauncey Billups has this great team around him. This sounds familiar because this is what they're saying about SGA. Detroit Pistons had a great defense around them. Tayshaun was a great defender. Ben Wallace, great defender. Rasheed, great defender. Billups, good defender. I would say great defender. Rip Hamilton, okay defender. I would say average defender. But the whole starting 5 sounds very familiar to SGA. And I would hear these people on ESPN say you can't give Billups the MVP because he has so much help around him and he got this elite squad because they played defense. I think the only person that was real like elite on offense was Rasheed. He was the only elite player. So they would like super inflate how good the team was around Chauncey Billups with Detroit and say that disqualified him from the MVP race. And then they would do the opposite for Steve Nash and say his team is so trash. None of them can get a shot without Steve Nash because Steve Nash was averaging about 12. So they was like, man, Steve Nash does everything. Those guys don't have to do nothing but just wait for the ball to fall in their hand. And he had a team with Amari Stoudemire, who got MVP votes that year and led the team in scoring. I think he was averaging 25. Had Amari Stoudemire. Then he had Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson left Phoenix and went to Atlanta and immediately turned into an all-star as a number 1 and led them to plenty of playoff appearances and the best record in the league one year. So he had Joe Johnson on his squad that was like I think that was his number 3 option because Amari was the number 1 option. Sean Marion was the number 2 option. Sean Marion also got MVP votes that year. So Nash won the MVP while being on the team with 2 players who got MVP votes who averaged more points than him. Marion probably averaged about 16, 17 and was a phenomenal player. And Amari Stoudemire averaged about 25 and was a phenomenal player. And then you had Joe Johnson as your number 3 option as a scorer. I wouldn't even say number 3 because Nash was scoring as well. He was scoring about 14 a game. So I think Joe Johnson was the number 4 option. And not only that, you had Quentin Richardson, who led the league in 3-point shooting that year. And then off the bench, you had Barbosa. The team was stacked. But in real time, they told us that none of those players could get a shot without Steve Nash. And then we see Joe Johnson leave and do just that. And then we see Stoudemire leave and do just that. None of those guys, after they left Steve Nash, had any problem getting no shots. We see Sean Marion leave and do just that. None of those guys had a problem getting shots before Steve Nash in college or wherever they came from, Stoudemire High School. Like, these are studs. These dudes can hoop. Nobody had an issue. But the narrative on TV was Steve Nash don't have the help that Chauncey Billups have, and Steve Nash is making everybody better, but Chauncey Billups got a all-star team that gives him help, so that disqualifies him. That's the narrative they're trying to push for SGA and Jokic. They're trying to say that Jokic don't have no help. And it's the same situation. He getting a lot of assists, so they just assume that nobody else can get their own shot. But listen, Jamal Murray. Let me talk to y'all. Jamal Murray went to Kentucky. Don't know scrubs go to Kentucky, number 1. Right? He went to Kentucky and ended up being, what was he, the number 7 pick in the draft? That's early in the lottery. So you getting a stud. He can hoop. We can look at him, tell me he can score. You know, he's a 25 point per game scorer this year. And he's going to be an all-star this year. The reason why he didn't make all-star the years before is a lot of times he got injured and didn't play enough games to get the votes. And the rest of the time, you in the West, they got Steph Curry. This is before they changed it to where it's positionless. So you start thinking about the point guards is getting taken. You got Steph Curry in the West. You got Dame Lillard in the West. You got Westbrook in the West. So all because Jamal Murray wasn't better than Westbrook, Dame, and Steph, the Jokic fans would tell you that he's not an all-star and he's not, and Jokic don't have no help. So that means he should get MVP. So you got a number 7 draft pick. What was he, number 7? He was picked number 7 in the lottery out of Kentucky and didn't do 4 years. I think he was one and done. You got to be good to be one and done coming out of Kentucky and then get picked number 7. You got to be good. So he don't have no scrub with him, but they're telling everybody that he plays with is a scrub and that they can't get a shot without. You just seen the guy say that Michael Porter Jr. can't get his own shot without Jokic. The same Michael Porter Jr. that was the number 1 prospect coming out of high school, and he played on the same team with Trae Young. He was the number 1 prospect coming out of high school. Nobody better in the nation. Goes to Missouri. I don't even think he played one game. If he did play one game, he left midway through the game. Got hurt his back, had back surgery. We didn't even see him play after the back surgery. And he was so good from what he looked like in high school with no film at Missouri in college. And after back surgery, and we don't even know how he go end up after back surgery. He was so good that he still went in the lottery. He was taking number 14, still winning the lottery. So we knew what Michael Porter Jr. was. The only question was is that back surgery good? Because he done had 2 more since then to correct some stuff. So it's something you got to work with. But that's how good Michael Porter Jr. is. If you watch basketball and understand what you're watching, you would know he's a stud. But since he got to play the role that Joe Johnson played with Phoenix, all you can do is shoot threes. Like, we didn't know how, like, Phoenix didn't showcase how good Joe Johnson was with the ball in his hand or in the post. All Joe Johnson did was shoot threes. He was so good as a player that if you want me to be a 3-point shooter, I do it. I'm not Ray Allen, but I do it. And I'm gonna be damn good at it. And then you go to Atlanta and just become a superstar as soon as you get there. The luxury of Steve Nash to have that as a number 4 option is insane. And the luxury of Nikola Jokic to have Michael Porter Jr. as a number 4 option. There's Jokic number 1, there's Murray number 2, there's Gordon number 3. Michael Porter Jr. was the number 4 option, and all he did was catch and shoot threes. He was that good that he was able to get 18 points a game off catch and shoot threes. No post-ups, no fades, curl actions, no ISO ball, none of that. Just catch and shoot, space the floor, corner board, catch and shoot. And look, people were so fooled that even Kenyon Martin and people on Gil's Arena was saying trade him for Zach LaVine when Denver was struggling last year. Trade Michael Porter Jr. He don't do nothing. He not that good. Trade him for Zach LaVine or trade him for Cam Johnson. These were suggestions early last year. He was the odd man out. He's not good. And look what he's doing. 25 points a game with the Brooklyn Nets. They started out slow. This is his first year being the number 1. But in the month of December, they've been very hot. Very hot. So you had a guy that was capable of 25 points a game sitting as your number 4 option. Very similar to Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns in the same narrative. Nobody can get their own shot without Steve Nash or Jokic. Let's give him the MVP for that. It's false narratives. So the number 4 option was Michael Porter Jr. He's averaging 25 and about to be an all-star this year. His first year, he's getting fan votes. Everybody's giving notoriety. Even Tim Legler was talking about him.
I really believe in just like conversations that I'm having. I think the guy's completely changed, like his draft trade status.
I think
in terms of attractability to teams, attractiveness. Like this guy now is like, because I think people thought, okay, kind of knew what Michael Porter was. The fact that he can do this offensively, I mean, even though it's a team that's not winning a lot of games, I do think now there's probably more teams that would look at him that are sort of those middle of the road playoff teams and go, man, that would be nice to add that kind of scoring punch. The question always gets back to what he willing to give up for him.
So even Tim Legler is shocked. Like the fact that he can do this offensively is what? You didn't know he could do that? I knew he could do that. I had been telling people all along. I had a guy call my show to talk about Kyrie Irving not being a superstar, and then somehow we got on the topic of Michael Porter Jr. because I've always been adamant about how good he is and how it's a lie that Jokic don't have no help. It's just the role that they have to play is, look, man, you have to get fed by Jokic. That's their offense. Jokic has to feed you. You can't go get it yourself. And people that don't know no better think that means they can't go get it themselves. No, they can. They got the ability to, but they can't because the offense don't allow them to. The offense don't allow them to go get it themselves. So I'm talking to this cat, and he laughing at me because I said Michael Porter Jr., this is before the season started. I said Michael Porter Jr. He's really got an opportunity to do some stuff in Brooklyn, and I think he can do it. That's the beauty. That's the beauty in a guy being able to prove it. Because who thought James Harden was a superstar in OKC when he was a six man? I didn't. But
nobody should. Yeah.
But he went to Houston and proved it, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. But
right. So you got to get an opportunity to prove it. I mean, some people think Brunson is a superstar, but who thought he was when he was in Dallas? You got to get proof. Michael Porter Jr., he's got a lot of talent. He's got an opportunity in Brooklyn to prove something. Can we be looking at somebody moving into that superstar range? It's possible.
Oh, man, you crack me up about Michael Porter Jr. You really do, man. Like, he's a cool player, man, but I think you hold him to a higher standard. The man had back surgeries, early in his career. So, like, I don't expect him to be an all-star or a great defender. But
he said, I don't expect him to be an all-star. Guess what? He's about to be an all-star. His first year averaging 25 points a game. So as your number 4 option, Nikola Jokic had a guy who's capable of being a number 1. It would have been hands down capable of being a number 1 if he didn't have back surgery. But with back surgery, he can still be a number 1, but a successful number 1, I don't know. That's yet to be seen. Like, this is his first year being a number 1. Who knows if they bring him a legit number 2 and build around him is if he's able to be successful next year. But one thing I can say is he's not a number 4 or number 3. He's easily a number 2. If you look at all the number 2s that's on playoff teams, you can even go to OKC and look at Jalen Williams. Is Jalen Williams that much better than Michael Porter Jr.? I think not. I think it's probably even. And if Michael Porter Jr. didn't have an injury history, I would take Michael Porter Jr. over Jalen Williams. Even though Jalen Williams brings you better defense. So it's a toss-up. It depends on what type of team I'm trying to build. But I really like Michael Porter Jr. He's like that, right? His potential to be a superstar might not be reached with his injuries, but the talent is there, right? So I say that to say this. This kid couldn't see it. I don't see him being an all-star. He laughed at me. And I've been telling people for years, like, y'all really don't know what this dude is about. So the number 4 option looks like he can't even get his own shot, and people don't think he can get his own shot. But that's what he had. He had a 25 point per game score as his number 4 option. He averaged 18 as a number 4 option, dog. 25 wasn't gonna be hard for him as a number 1. All right, so that's the 4th option. Then he got Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon has to guard the best player if they play the 2, the 3, or the 4. And on top of that, he gotta bring you about 16 to 17 points a game. I think he averaged 17 last year. So you got your number 3 option averaging 17. And then he's the best defender, and he has to guard. I mean, he can't even get an all defensive team vote. It's almost like the voters want to go with the narrative that Jokic don't have no help, that they can't even bring themselves to vote a great defender like Aaron Gordon to a defensive team or all-star team, or even vote Jamal Murray to an all-star team. Aaron Gordon scored 50 points the first game of the season this year. Hit like 9 threes. He was shooting a career high in 3. Like, this dude is turned himself into a 3-point shooter the same way Kevin Love and Chris Bosh had to do when they played with LeBron. They had to reinvent themselves into a 3-point shooter. It is as a slasher who posts up and dribbles to the hole and get dunks and stuff like that. Created himself into a 3-point shooter because that's the offense that they want to run with Jokic, four people around the 3-point line. On top of guarding the best player every night, and you got to provide 17 points. But he can't get a vote for all-star or defensive team. No credit at all. Because people want the narrative that Jokic is out there doing it by himself. But this is Aaron Gordon is your number 3. Michael Porter is your number 4. It's a stacked team, low key. Then you got Jamal Murray, who also scored 50 points this year. So you got Aaron Gordon, who's capable of scoring 50 and been the best defender on the team. And then your number 2 is Jamal Murray, who's capable of scoring 50, who's going to make All-Star this year. So Michael Porter's going to make it and Jamal's going to make it. So you really had 2 All-Stars with you the whole time, plus Aaron Gordon, the best defender on the squad and one of the probably the 10 or 15 best defenders in the league. On your squad, you had that. You've always had help. Aaron Gordon coming out of high school, was heavily recruited, the number 1 power forward, number 1 player at his position, and the number 4 player in the entire nation, and was one and done in Arizona. Like, these aren't scrubs, and he got drafted number 4 overall. So Jamal Murray got drafted number 7. Michael Porter got drafted number 14. Aaron Gordon got drafted number 4. Michael Porter was number 1 coming out of high school. Aaron Gordon was number 4 coming out of high school. Jamal Murray came out of Canada, went to Kentucky. I don't know what his rank was in high school. They probably didn't know about him in Canada. But Calipari knew about him. Bring your butt to Kentucky. And on the team, I think Jamal Murray played with Devin Booker. Devin Booker couldn't even start because of Jamal Murray. Like, this is crazy when they try to tell you that these dudes ain't good, and they sitting here averaging 25 points a game. Like, they're averaging 25 a game, and they're telling you that they're not good because they ain't made an All-Star yet. Well, why the hell somebody averaging 25 that's that good ain't made All-Star yet? Ain't that suspicious? Bruh, ain't that suspicious? Can't make All-Star. Like, this dude had studs the whole time. This dude played so many years with Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, and Jamal Murray, and we let them lie and tell us that they didn't have no help, or Jokic didn't have no help. That's insane. They don't even have to play the way that they played that make Jokic get 10 to 12 assists a game. They don't even have to play like that. Hey, let's design an offense where one guy gets the assist. All of them. Well, even though they won last night, they didn't get a lot of team assists, so they got to figure something out. But they only got about 17 assists. I think a good team should be able to get between 25 and 30, right? So they got to figure it out. Murray is a number 1 option now. So he has to figure out now. He was the second highest guy in assists behind Jokic. I think Jokic is averaging around 11. Murray is averaging around 7. But he's providing 25 points. But now he has to be the number 1 option, which means defenses are going to be guarding him different now. And every number 1 needs a legit number 2 to take some pressure off of them and help score. Last night it was Watson for Jamal Murray. Watson was able to get about 25, 26 points. Jamal got 21. He didn't get his average of 7 assists. I think he ended up with 5 or 6, right? So he's distributing as best he can and scoring points as well as a number 1. I'm not mad at how he performed, right? But the team has to figure out how to generate more easy buckets and more assists, because 17 assists is just not enough for a team right? I want to see 25. I want to see 25 assists. I really want to see 30, but 25 I settle for. So that coach has some work to do, and Jamal Murray has some work to do to figure out how we can do that. But this is what I did see for them to be able to pull out a win against a playoff team like that. This is what I did see. They didn't play zone. Valanciunas protected the rim. He got 3 blocks, and he deterred a bunch of. So it wasn't a free fall in the paint. Let's just go out here and score. It wasn't that. It wasn't a free fall. I've seen games where Jokic have 1 steal, 1 block, one foul, but when you watch the film, he gave up about 10 to 12 dunks and layups. There's no way in the world where I want a center standing in the paint, giving up layup after layup, and he ended the game with 1 foul. You got 4 more fouls you could have gave before you fouled out. That would have stopped 8 points, possibly. You put him to the line, make him earn it. That stops some points. You can't just concede once they get in the paint, be like, oh well, I can't foul because I'm Jokic and I'm so important to the offense that I can't get in foul trouble. I can't have my leader thinking like that. I cannot have my leader saying I'm giving up dunks and layups because I can't personally foul because I'm too important to the offense. So, like, that's insane to me. I gave someone an example of a soccer goalie. And this is why I hate when people say basketball is positionless. It's not, because position tells you where you're supposed to be at and what you're supposed to protect on defense, and where you're supposed to be at on offense and what you're responsible for on offense. So if you play goalie in soccer, I know exactly where you're supposed to be at, near the net. If you play forward in soccer, I know exactly where you're supposed to be at, up front. If you play mid, I know exactly what. So the positions tell you where that's the definition of position. Position is where you're at relative to something. I'm going to put you in position. Position, what's your position at work? Where you rank it? Like, position is, it means where are you at? Where's your place at? Right? Position means something. You can't say it's positionless and then have someone stand in the well, as soon as I say, like, if I draw up a play and say, hey, this is what a 2-3 zone looks like, and I just draw 5 X's, 2 X's by the elbows, an X on the block, an X on the opposite block, and an X in the paint in the middle of the net. I ain't even got to tell you what those positions are. You can point to it and say, that's a forward, that's a center, and these are the 2 guards. So there's no such thing as positionless basketball. We keep letting these little terminologies creep in from these freaking nerds, and it's messing our game up, and it's teaching kids after us that, it's just changing everything. There's no such thing as positionless basketball. Everyone plays a position on the floor relative to the rim. So if you play center, you're supposed to be near the rim, because centers usually are the tallest and biggest player on the court. And we need guys like that to block shots at the rim, protect the paint, protect the rim. So if you play center, Jokic, your expectation is you should be getting blocks or deterring people from coming in and getting dunks and layups, not inviting them in. When we see Jokic in the paint, that's our opportunity to go get a dunk or a layup, because we know he's not going to contest it, jump, hard foul, and none of that. He's going to let you get it. It's street poontang. Anybody can get it. So when you play center, you protect the net. When you play goalie, you protect the net. So here's my example of soccer and basketball. If you play goalie, I know you're supposed to be in the net. How would you like it? Because this is what they say for Jokic. They say Jokic does play defense. He averages 1.8 steals. That's defense. No, you play center. You're supposed to protect the net. I don't give a fuck about your steals. The fact that you're getting them steals is probably telling me you out of position anyway, because you're supposed to be protecting the net. And I got 2 eyes. I'm watching the game and I'm seeing you give up these layups. So If you take it to the goalie in soccer and they come down on some type of some type of fast break, and the guy with the ball crosses it all the way to the next, guy that's supposed to kick it, and the goalie comes all the way out of the net to steal that ball. He may get it or he may not get it, but if he gets it, it might be a good steal or a good play. If he don't get it, the net is wide open. There's no goalie now, open net. So imagine if you have a goalie that gives up the most goals in the league, but when he takes those chances to get those steals, he's getting a good amount of steals. And when someone tells you that that's a bad goalie because he gives up the most goals, imagine somebody telling you, but look at the steals he get. That's what they're doing with Jokic. Jokic, they got to play zone because he's such a bad defender. And in that zone, sometimes they get a lot of pokes at the ball. And Jokic ain't guarding nobody. He just guarding a area, just playing a zone in the middle. And when those pokes come out, sometimes it just pops right in Jokic's hand. It's not like he's picking somebody up full court like Gary Payton and stripping them. It's not like he's switching on defense on screens at the perimeter and sitting down in the chair against a guard and they try to go by him and he picking their pocket. Those are not the steals Jokic is getting. The steals Jokic is getting is his teammates popping the ball out in a zone they play. Somebody try to blow by, they popping the ball out of the back and it's going straight to Jokic's hand. That's one of the steals he get. And then the other steal he get is, I'm not going to jump and block your shot, but he swipes at everything if he gets close to it, right? He swipe at it. Sometimes he get it. But what he's never doing is protecting the net. Like a goalie coming all the way out of the net trying to get a steal. And he's going to tell you that those steals that he get mean that he's a good goalie, but he giving up so many goals. Jokic gives up so many points at the paint, at the rim, at the net, that is obviously a bad defender because you're a center and you're supposed to be protecting the rim and protecting the net and protecting the paint. Don't trade your block shots and your net protection for steals and say, hey, but I'm getting these steals. That's like if I'm a man and I'm supposed to be working and bringing home the bacon so my family can, have clothes, shelter, and food, but I don't have a job, but I tell my wife, but look what I'm doing. I'm washing dishes. Well, I don't need you to wash dishes. I got the kids for that. That's an easy job. I got the kids to wash dishes. I don't need you to wash dishes. You're supposed to have a job, sir. You can't bypass a duty that you obviously supposed to have based on your position and then offer me something else and say, well, what about this? You get what I'm saying? And what he's doing is, well, look at all these assists I'm getting. Give me the MVP because I'm getting so many assists. Well, sir, we don't even I need you to score, sir. I got a point guard for those assists. It's obviously he's capable of getting assists because he averaged 7 assists and you're taking his point guard duties away from him. Like, you're the primary distributor, but my point guard still is able to fork out 7 assists. Imagine what he would be able to do if the offense was ran and he was the point guard and you just did what you're supposed to do as a freaking center. Post up, set screens, let us go to you when we need points. Basically what Tim Duncan did with the Spurs. And we just let Jamal Murray run the offense like daggone Tony Parker did or Avery Johnson did. You can't take the point guard duty from somebody and then brag about the assists you're getting. I can get them same assists if Jokic be Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. did what he did and Aaron Gordon did what he did and Christian Braun did what he did. Jamal Murray, instead of getting 7 assists, he would have 12 and 20 points and 12 assists, and he would have been an all-star. But when you tell a 6'11", 7,900 pound center that, hey, we're gonna let you run point 90% of the time so you can get all the assists, well, then what the hell? Why do I have a point guard? Which one of y'all is the point guard? is insanity. Right? So when you got now you don't have Michael Porter Jr. anymore, but when you had him for so many years, an all-star that was held back because of Jokic now can make all-star and average 25. And you got another all-star in Murray held back because of Jokic because he's taking the point guard duties from him. But he about to be an all-star this year because he stayed healthy and stepped this game up. And then you got Aaron Gordon, best defender on the team, a top 15 defender in the league, and a 17 point per game scorer, capable of getting 50. You had 2 50-point scorers on your team, plus Michael Porter Jr., and you had people walking around here thinking you didn't have no help. That's insane. That's insane. And he said it's a shame. Honestly, yes, it's a shame. And he said, plus Jokic see no ball pressure. Yeah, ain't nobody about it. I would love to see Pat Beverly say, man, I'm about to press this fat joker. This dude about to daggone try to bring the ball up. I'm about to press him all the way up court. He'll get that ball up real quick. You ain't no point guard. Like, these people don't play the game right, dog. And then the people around the sport don't talk about it right. How you go brag about a guy getting assists when it ain't even his job to do all that stuff, and his job really is to defend, play defense, and protect the rim. He's not doing that, and we go pretend like he's doing it because he get one steal a game. Like, we don't even care about defense no more. And now they want this dude to be a top. Well, his fans say he in the GOAT debate. Some of his fans say he is the GOAT. He's better than Jordan, all because of triple doubles. Like, I don't get it.